Welcome to Training Day with Coach PJ. Today I'm going to take you through two variations of the push press. The first variation we're going to do is with the dumbbells, and that's the version that I like the most to get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to get set up with the dumbbells at your shoulders. And the grip, we can go anywhere from about a neutral grip where my elbows are in tight out to about 45 degrees. I like just out about 45 degrees. Neutral can be a little bit tight for people with shoulder mobility restrictions. So I like out at about 45 degrees. So Sam's going to pick up the dumbbells and get set up. He's got the dumbbells up to his shoulders, his elbows are slightly out. Now he's going to go ahead and use a little bit of momentum from his lower body and go into an overhead press. Give me a rep. A little more speed. One more. Good. Rest. So you notice a couple things. When Sam uses that dip, he's just slightly dropping his hips a couple inches, and he's unlocking at the hips and the knees at the same time. So he's not reaching his hips back like he's reaching back in a squat. He's just dropping straight down, using a little bit of momentum of his lower body to produce some force, and then finishing by pressing with his upper body. So it's really like cheating an overhead press. That's what the push press is for. So that allows us to go a little bit heavier into this press and incorporate a little bit of full body, but it's still an upper body pressing movement. When he finishes that press, you notice his body was completely upright and his arm, stand sideways, his arm was straight up overhead with his bicep right by his ear. So he's got a straight line from his wrist, elbow, shoulder, ear, hip, knee, ankle, all the way straight down. So he's pressing directly up over his base of support. We're using this again to overload that overhead press, and I like to use the dumbbells so we can adjust shoulder position, because a barbell puts you in that fixed position that can cause a lot of shoulder problems, particularly for my athletes who are fighters and have a lot of shoulder issues and dysfunctions as it is. So the dumbbells gives us a little bit more flexibility about where we want to go, what angle we want to press from. And that's why I really like that 45 degrees out where we have the best range of motion. If Sam has shown me that he doesn't have the prerequisite shoulder mobility to get into that overhead position, so let's say we did a little bit of shoulder test and I said put his arms overhead, and he was only, let's go other arm, he only had his arm out to here. And that's as far as he could get. Maybe I did a shoulder flexion test with his back on the wall, and this is the best range of motion he has right now, and he's restricted. If I load him up and have him do a push press, he'll figure out a way to get those dumbbells straight up. What he's going to do is probably flare out at the rib cage, so go ahead and extend way out. Notice as he flares his rib cage out and he compensates at the low back, now his arm is vertical. But he got in this vertical position with a compensatory pattern that's just going to set him up for injuries down the road. So if he's shown me he doesn't have that shoulder mobility, we're still going to train. We're going to find another trainable exercise for Sam. He's going to do the landmine push press. So go ahead and demonstrate that one. Almost the same movement pattern. The only difference here is it's now a little bit more of a diagonal pressing pattern, so it's not directly vertical. So because his force is going to go diagonal, as he dips back, he'll go a little bit more diagonal. Again, the absorption of the force and the production of the force is always going to go on that same line. So go ahead and do a little dip, drop. And then he fully extends the arm out. Everything else is almost exactly the same. Only difference is he's now a little bit more vertical. Go ahead and do two more for me. Dip, drive. One more. Good, relax. So, we found another trainable exercise. We can still get the same exact benefits from this one that we got from the dumbbell, while we've got Sam working on some other stuff for his shoulder mobility to eventually get him into that overhead position. But I'm not just going to load him up because we're doing push press and that's what it says on the sheet. The one other great part about the landmine is because he's going single arm, there's a huge rotary stability and anti-rotation that he's going to feel from his hips through his core as he gets into that press, especially as we start to load up heavy, so we get an extra benefit from that. We're using this one decently heavy, so we're going 4 sets of 4 reps. So if you're doing the single arm, we'd go 4 reps on each arm because we're trying to get that heavy pressing motion. So that's the dumbbell and the landmine push press. And this is Training Day with Coach PJ. Thanks for joining us.